I'm John Celestri, and welcome to our latest Deeper Dive video interview. It's a companion piece to our latest Deep Dive white paper, and you can access all of our deep dives if you go to BOMA.org/deep dives. Instrumental to our latest were the two ladies who are sitting with me right now. Dr. Deborah Burks is Chief Medical and Science Advisor at ActivePure, and Amy Carenza is Chief Commercial Officer at ActivePure. Ladies, thank you for the time. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you, John.
Deborah, you were active in the White House Coronavirus Task Force. Tell us what you see as the latest in protocols as we watch the office sector begin to regain its occupancy footing.
Well, I think we're all ready to eliminate magical thinking and move to the reality of this virus. It's not going to magically disappear.
Right.
And indeed, because it's what we call an RNA virus, it continues to adapt to us. And these new variants are just more infectious adaptation to us that can infect people despite pre-existing infection and can infect people despite vaccination and boosting. And so now we have to, in return to the workplace, really deal with the reality that this virus is going to be with us. It's still going to cause severe disease in specific individuals. And in order to protect everyone, we have to return to the workplace with 21st century technology.
I want to get a little bit more into that magical thinking in just a minute. But Amy, talk to me a little bit about the CBDs in the downtowns as opposed to more suburban areas. Are they more at risk simply because of the nature of crowding and population?
I think the core business districts, and in particular our MSAs, I think what's happening is building managers, asset owners, corporations in those markets are contemplating what will be the role of the office.
Right.
And as they're contemplating the role of the office, what I tend to hear is we're going to retain the office. The office is not going away.
Not going away, right.
And we're going to depend on it for collaboration and for engagement and for bonding. And that essentially implies that the opportunities for person-to-person transmission, if you're essentially relegating the office's primary use for congregate gatherings,
right,
you've inadvertently increased the odds of having community-acquired infections simply because you are limiting how and when you use the office to higher risk behaviors. Mm-hmm. So I think that's something that everyone has to keep that in mind as they think about how they're going to use the office going forward. As Dr. Burke said, as obviously as the team at ActivePure feels, you can absolutely adapt the role of the office, but you have to also adapt the technology you use in your spaces to have greater certainty of execution for how and when you use these spaces.
And the technology that we currently use for the most part, as you had indicated, is largely from the 50s.
Correct. And so I think just as with HIV, we learned a lot about the immune system, and it changed how we do cancer treatment. Mm-hmm. And it changed how we look at the immune system in general and how vibrant the immune system is. This virus, and because of its level of infectiousness, will change forever how we view indoor air, because this virus can remain suspended for hours in indoor air. So even if you go into a room and think that it was just empty, right, you're breathing air that someone else had breathed over the last few hours, and that virus is remaining suspended.
Which kind of gets us back in a way to the magical thinking you were talking about, and the fact that we've lived with it for so long that we're all kind of normalizing under, I hate the phrase, but new normal.
Yeah.
But at the same time, don't we run the risk of becoming blasé?
Yeah, I think when I tell people that over 175,000 people have died in the last 5 months, right, I think that shocks people. In fact, our rate of fatalities
in the U.S.,
although is slightly less than it was in 2020, it's nowhere close to what I think we would consider acceptable, that all Americans survive. And I think what I've learned in battling pandemics around the globe, you have to have very clear goals. And the way we were successful with HIV, our goal was 0 new infections, 0 deaths. And I think with this virus, our goal should be 0 hospitalizations and 0 deaths. And there's a way to get there, but we have to use the tools of today.
And can I just add something?
Please.
You talk about new normals, something, and Dr. Birx coined this expression for us. We don't want to return to normal. We don't want to return to a new normal. We want to return to better than normal.
I like that.
So that implies that the way we lived in 2019, these vulnerabilities, these risks, they lurked in plain sight. The pandemic created an awareness of them, and now it's about taking action to make our entire society stronger, not just for this pandemic, but for whatever the future holds.
We were not safe then in 2019. As
Correct.
comfortable as we were.
And we're not safe now.
Right.
And that's why we have to change. And we have to adapt to the virus.
Let's say we meet next year. What's the headline going to be, to blue sky a little bit? Let's start with you, Amy.
I think the headline is going to be, corporations no longer have to choose between protecting the environment and protecting their workers.
Deb?
I think when people look back, they'll say, why didn't we use the tools that this great country had to save people's lives and to make the workplace safe and the schools safe, because we want to do both. And I think we will, unless we change how we're confronting this virus, we will continue to have over 200 to 300,000 deaths per year.
My God. Thank you both for your insights, and thank you for your time.